But first, some breaking news this hour. Contractors building the AWPR have been fined more than £250,000 for polluting the rivers Dee and Don. That's one of the biggest penalties ever handed out by the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency.
The contractor building the new Aberdeen Bypass has been issued with a penalty of more than £250,000 for polluting the Don and the Dee, two of Scotland's most important salmon rivers. It's the biggest such penalty since the Scottish Environment Protection Agency was given new powers to take action without going through the courts. The money will go to local community groups like the Dee District Salmon Fisheries Board. Well, SEPA's Chief Executive, Terry Ahern, joins us now from Aberdeen. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And how damaging was this pollution?
The contractor building the new Aberdeen Bypass has been issued with a penalty of more than £250,000 for polluting two of Scotland's most important salmon rivers, the Don and the Dee. It's the biggest case of its kind since the Scottish Environment Protection Agency was given new powers. Our environment correspondent, Kevin Keane, has more.
The pollution is obvious. Silt carried by rainwater runs from the construction site straight into waterways. Over a 2-year period, this happened almost 50 times, involving 17 individual burns and rivers. Worrying was when it hit the River Dee, one of the most important salmon rivers in Scotland.
It's actually the load going down the river.
An investigation was launched by SEPA, whose chief executive tells me the provisions for handling rainwater were inadequate.
We were very disappointed with the performance of the contractor. So 47 incidents over about a 2-year period is not good enough. And it's hard to judge what the actual damage was because you're talking about water courses that cover a long distance. But the potential impact if that stuff keeps going is very serious.
On one occasion, the pollution halted work on the entire length of the bypass. On others, the project was stopped in sections. The biggest fear throughout was for the salmon.
The little spaces between the stones and gravels can get choked up and smothered, and these juvenile fish can't use them. As well as that, it can have a negative impact upon their breathing. It can damage their gills directly through the fine sediments.
The £280,000 penalty has been agreed under powers recently acquired by SEPA. It avoids the need for lengthy prosecutions and means greater benefits for affected areas, in this case several fishing and community groups.
Well, that's a key point. Instead of money going to lawyers and processors, the money has more quickly been paid up by the company, and in addition it goes directly to a series of community groups for direct community benefit.
Transport Scotland, on behalf of the contractors, says it's been working to ensure watercourses are better protected from construction activities. They welcome any measures which result in a positive impact on the environment. This has been a massive construction project, building 36 miles of dual carriageway over the last 3 years. It's scheduled for completion before the end of the winter. Kevin Keane reporting, Scotland, Aberdeen.
The contractor building the Aberdeen Bypass has been fined more than £250,000. They've accepted responsibility for almost 50 pollution incidents. Here's Colin White.
Bypass work was halted last year after torrential rain caused a huge build-up of silt. The mud seeped into the Dee and the Don. There's been no lasting damage, but freshwater pearl mussels, salmon and other fish were all at risk. It's one of a range of incidents. The contractors, Aberdeen Roads Limited, have accepted responsibility and agreed a penalty of £280,000.
We've had a team of people working on this for 2 or 3 years. We were very disappointed with the level of pollution that took place. We've been pleased that the contractor has improved its performance and has put its hand up, said we've done the wrong thing and we're putting our hand in the pocket to recompense the community for the damage that's been done.
The money will go to a range of local, community and environmental projects. £150,000 will be spent by the Dee District Salmon Fishery Board. £40,000 will pay for car parking at Newton Hill Community Centre, and £20,000 will allow Aberdeen District Angling Association to make footpath improvements. The penalty is the result of new powers, meaning SEPA can avoid the courts and work with the offenders. Transport Scotland speak on behalf of the contractors.
Transport Scotland say they take their environmental responsibilities very seriously and have been working closely with SEPA and the contractor to ensure that all the watercourses on the bypass site are protected. They say they welcome any measures that have been agreed that will result in a positive impact on the environment.
This is by far the biggest penalty under the new legislation so far. SEPA hopes it will act as a warning to others. Colin White, STV News.
Hi, my name's James Smith, Unit Manager of SEPA's local regulatory services team in Aberdeen. I'm standing overlooking a section of the Aberdeen Western Peripheral route, the major infrastructure project being developed to improve travel in and around Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland. SEPA has had extensive involvement with the project over the last few years, advising and assessing the measures which are in place to ensure the locals' environment is adequately protected from pollution caused by the construction process.
Hi, I'm Sam Fleming. I'm a water specialist for Grampian and West Highland. The AWPR caused impacts through the rivers stretching from north of Aberdeen all the way through to Stonehaven in the south. This impact consisted of discoloration of the watercourses, which affected local communities' ability to enjoy their local environment. It also impacted on local anglers' ability to fish and on local beat proprietors' ability to bring people in to enjoy the fishing on the local rivers. SEPA's response to the various pollution incidents throughout has been a movement from advice and education through enforcement, including a period of voluntary suspension of work so that the AWPR CJV could concentrate on environmental mitigation.